Hey, my wild cards. Wow, I cannot believe we have reached 4,000 subscribers. I am pretty blown away on how many of you there are out there. Wow. Anywho, I decided to do a Q&A video to celebrate us reaching 4,000 wildcard subscribers. I'm so happy. And I gave you guys the opportunity to submit questions to ask me. They could be about my scripts, my videos, my characters, even about me. So I post this all out through my Twitter, my channel here, and some on my Discord. So if you don't see your question, that means I did not see it when I started recording this, but I don't mind answering other questions if you end up sending them. Okay, let's get into this. A little nervous, okay. Alright, let's get into the questions. Okay. Question 1. How is your day so far? Could be better. My house is a little crazy at times, and I ended up getting into a little bit of a screaming match with my stepdad earlier before I started recording this, so that was fun. Question 2. How do you like your eggs? Okay. I like them sunny side because I love to have the yolk as a certain jam when I put it on top of the toast, so it's oh so good for me. Question 3. Favorite franchise, video games, movies, etc. Well, I don't really play that many video games only because I don't have a gaming system, and the only time I did was when I would play my boyfriends at the time, so the games I would play would be most likely the ones they had, and the only time I was allowed to play is when they would not yell at me for playing their games. It's kind of not really cool for their girlfriend to be better at the games than them, so I stopped playing some games to prevent that from happening. But my favorite ones to play at the time were anything Assassin's Creed related and anything related to Mario. Favorite movie franchise? I love anything fantasy, whether it comes to Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, you name it. If it's somewhere in a medieval time, I am there. I just love the idea of it. And etc. I don't know what to go with, so I'll go with anime. I love anime, as you can see by some of my artwork. I'm very influenced by it so much, and I'll have to say I've been really into Hero Academia, not just because a lot of my VA friends have been doing awesome voice acting of some of the characters, but also I love each individual character that I find there. A few others I like, oh god, off the top of my head, Blue Exorcist has always been a favorite in my heart, Ouran Host Club, Fairy Tail, Forever, and so many more that I cannot remember off the top of my head, but I always recognize characters. Are you a morning person or a night person? I am not a morning person. My dad used to always be a morning person, same with my mom. I am not. I tend to stay up real late, and I always have been, and I tend to work on my videos at night when my family is asleep so I don't end up bugging them. Plus, they always seem to need me around the house, so it's just easier for me to work at night. Plus, I would always end up getting the second and third graveyard shifts when I did work, so I've gotten used to it over the times. If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go? Well, I love traveling. My dad influenced traveling on me when I was very young. I've lived in the States, so I've been to mostly almost every state that touches the Atlantic Ocean, plus a few others, especially on the West Coast when I visit my family that's out there, but I definitely would love to go to England because I do have a lot of friends there, and I know a few of you guys are from there also. But I also would love to travel to Greece, Sicily, from where some of my family lives also, and also Japan. Do you believe in true love or soulmates? Yes, I do. I constantly believe in love. Hell, my logo is a heart. I do believe in soulmates. I do believe I am made perfectly for someone, and someone out there is perfectly made for me. And I will love all of their flaws, and they will love me for mine as well. Do you have a dream car? Oh, yes, I do. Mm, as some of you might know, I always talk about my dad. I am a daddy's girl. I love my dad. He was a much older man, so I actually were influenced a lot by him. I.e., meaning I really like more classic cars. My favorite car is actually a 1969 Ford Mustang convertible. And I always love seeing them in blue. And it's just a beautiful, sexy car. I cannot get over it. If I ever see one, I'm pretty sure I'll be drooling over its hood. Anywho, if it's a more practical car, meaning more modern, I definitely have to go with it's always been a truck. What do you do before you start making a video? Well, it really depends on what type of video I'm making. If it's a type of data video, then I really like to do my homework on what type of character it would be. See other anime characters and get influenced by them, how they act, and try to copy them if I can. If it's more of a role that I can very much relate to, then I just go back to how I acted in that time and I'm able to do it. If it's more like a FTL, Friends to Lovers script, I just act my kooky self. Reasons why I love doing them, because I don't really have to pretend in a script. I mostly act like me throughout all of my videos. A tip I give for other VA artists if they're feeling nervous, or if you're new to this, I put a mirror actually in my office where I record. Occasionally, I would lip sing some music that I really like doing, and even though I look so goofy doing it, it actually makes me feel a lot better. Every time I get nervous, I feel like I have to act silly, and it ends up calming me down and makes the other person laugh, so that's always good. And something I still try to do when I make my videos. Favorite breakfast? Mine is French toast. Okay. Mine is not French toast because no one in my house can ever make it right. My favorite breakfast would have to be either pancakes or waffles. I love them both. Do you have a crush? Ooh. I feel like I'm getting myself into trouble if I answer this, but I am being honest to you guys. Yes, I do, but I am not telling who, out of respect and privacy of them. Do you have any tattoos or piercings? Yes, I have 2 tattoos on my arms, and I would definitely like to get more. My tattoos are one of my zodiac sign that I have on my wrist. It was my first tattoo, and it reminded me at the time to be more like a Scorpio, be more proud, dominating, let my voice be heard, and don't let anyone walk over me. And I still use that to that day sometimes when I'm being shy or scared. It reminds me to be strong and let my voice be heard. My other tattoo is on my other forearm. It's a flower of my dad. Again, I am a daddy's girl. I love my dad, and he passed away when I was 18. And one of his favorite flowers was a tiger lily, and they grow crazy outside of my office window, and that was one of his favorite flowers. So I have them on my arm, and I would love to get more plants and flowers influenced by people who influenced my life so much. Are there any other VA artists you enjoy working with? Yes, my go-to guys if I need help in a script or if I need someone else's voice to do lines, I would call on my friends Pebble and Salad. They are my go-to guys if I need lines. Plus, they are great, talented artists, and plus they always make me laugh when I work with them. Another person I always go to besides them is definitely one of my favorite friends to work with is Siren's son. He does a lot of small backgrounds for my characters, which really helps me a lot because I'm not very good at doing quick backgrounds, and he has an awesome sketch tool tablet that I simply drool and dream over. My friend Cherry, she does is Cherry Channel. She is basically like my little sister, the sister I never got to have. I love working with her. She makes me smile, and I really love working with all of my friends, really. But those four are definitely my favorite go-tos if I'm stuck or I need them with something. What do you do when you're stuck with a story? If my VA friends can't really help me, then would take my mentor's advice and go for a walk, or I would really listen to epic symphony music or epic emotional music and let my mind wander, and eventually uh, the situation resolves itself, especially if I'm stuck with a story. Because to me, music really does tell a story and takes you somewhere else, and it is one of my biggest influencers on me. If you could give your younger self advice, what would it be? Ooh, I love this question. This is actually one of my favorite questions to ask my friends. Um, I would definitely, since it's not saying an age, I would just go with 10 years younger. I would definitely tell myself not to be afraid of who I am. Be proud of the person I am, because who I am is actually pretty amazing, and I shouldn't be scared of everyone judging me for it, because I am awesome, I am funny, and I am beautiful. So that would be my advice. Don't be afraid to be yourself. I'm curious to know if you come up with the character or the scenario first. Also, I love you. I hope you're doing well. Thank you. I am doing very well, and it really depends. Sometimes, if I'm watching a movie or listening to another VA or ASMR roleplay, I'm constantly thinking, what if I was that character, or what if I was in that situation? How would I portray that? But it depends on that. Sometimes, if I really want to do, let's say, a fairy character, what on earth can I get her into, or how would she act? And then the ball just continues rolling from there. So it really depends on the character and basically which scenario I'm going through. What are other stories you're planning for us in the future? What was your first impression of this community as a whole? Ooh, I actually have a lot planned and in store for you guys. A lot of few of you have requested an orc character, so I have been getting that script ready. I also, if you follow me on Twitter, I currently have asked a lot of my VA friends if they would be interested in helping me with my next superhero script. So after writing 3 lines of my script, I thought, wait a minute, what if I got everyone in on this? And next thing I knew, I was asking all my VA friends if they would be interested in doing this. I got villains, I got heroes, and it's going to be so epic. I can't wait to share it to you guys. I know it's going to take me a while to edit everything, so be patient with that, but I can definitely tell you it'll be well worth it. Another thing I have planned is a lot of your favorite series are continuing, and things start to get a little dramatic in a few of them, or suspenseful, but that's only because I don't like my scripts to be boring. I want them to be thrilling, exciting, and to latch you guys into the story so much. First impression of this community as a whole. You guys definitely make me laugh with a lot of your comments and how much you support me, which really makes me feel good, and sometimes make feel bashful about that you guys like me so much. I'm still trying to get used to this sometimes. Were there any specific ASMR artists that inspired you to start recording? Kinda. I listened to a lot of different ASMR artists before I started, and I still listen to them. Cardlin Audio, Shadow Whisperer, Yuri Voice, and a whole bunch of other people. Let me actually take a moment and bring them up, because I really do appreciate other people's work, and I admire their work, let alone my VA friends. Hank Miller, my friend Siren Sun, Azu Official, Echo's Desire, Bad Fantasy, Johnny Static, who's also a friend and mentor to me, Gale Force Audios, Moonlight Audios, Visual Dreams Entertainment, Boyfriend Audios, and a whole lot more. I've always appreciated other people's work, and it really does inspire me. And it really did inspire me to continue writing when everyone thought it was just a hobby and I should really go into some type of line of work that paid better. So I guess they really did help me become who I am. And you can actually see all the people I support and I am a fan of. What type of roleplay scenario is your favorite? I'll answer this in two parts. My favorite to play are definitely ones I can relate to. Like my bartender, for example. I did used to be a bartender, so I was able to take back how I was when I was a bartender and portray that into the video. So that was really fun and one of my favorites to do. My favorite scenario to listen to would most likely be my FTLs and more situations I can relate to. Other than that, to listen to, it's always a fantasy for some reason. I am obsessed with werewolf videos. I can't help it. And before you ask, no, I am not a fan of Twilight. I have never read or watched a movie. I have been a fan of them for I don't know how long. Did you write the Siren's storyline? Because the ending made me cry. It was so good. Yes, I did. My Siren is definitely one of my favorite characters to play, not just because I love the water, and as a little girl, I wish I was a mermaid. But also, I did want the story to start thicken up a little bit and have a little bit of a plot twist. Yeah, when I asked you guys the scenario question, what to do at the bar, I knew that would be a great thing to start stirring the pot a little bit, but I didn't want it to be just that. I wanted the storyline to have some conflict and actually show how much my character, my Siren, really likes being with the listener, you guys, because of her background and what she's been through and how much she likes being with you. Could you let go of your Siren if you had to? And I knew that would be a very hard and bittersweet moment. After that, the script took a mind of its own and it created something as good as that, and more is to come for the Siren in store, and some of it I am hoping if I can get some of my VA friends to do other scripts with me, all goes well and it will be very much an interesting story. I'm gonna leave it at that because I don't want to spoil too much. Okay, what ideas do you have for some videos that you didn't use but reused in other videos? Oh god, what did I use? I do know I have rewritten a couple of scripts quite a few times. I do know in my earlier videos, my fairy character, I had a very different welcoming of that character. Originally, I had the character you were cutting flowers in a garden after inheriting a new place, and she didn't like you cutting her flowers. You thought she was a bug. You would try and swat her with a shovel. That was a little weird the more I thought about it, and I decided just to have her locked up in an attic and make a bunch of noise until you released her. which kind of made me give a genie feel, but that's one example, I think. Also, a good example would be probably my werewolf series. Originally, she was supposed to be just the youngest sibling, not even a chance to be alpha. She was just going to be another pack member, and her father or uncle was going to be the alpha. I wanted to make her a little bit more proud and dominating, though, so I decided to make her the alpha. And when I listened to other werewolf videos, and I realized that there wasn't that many female alphas. So I thought that would be a good change in character. And actually, one of my friends who's very good at doing an Irish werewolf, I am not naming names, he actually really liked my character as well, especially when I drew a picture of both of our characters next to each other, which is one thing I like doing with my VA friends. If they have their own personal characters, kind of like how I do. I like drawing mine if we have similar character types, and it's kind of fun seeing them next to each other. Why did you start doing VA voice acting? Well, ever since I was a kid, I enjoyed mimicking the TV when it was my favorite cartoon characters. Although, as a kid, I was very bad at it, but I enjoyed doing it, especially mocking it in front of a mirror. And the more I kept on doing this, I would start lip singing in front of a mirror, and I just found it so incredibly fun. Also, when I would do it around my friends, I would do funny voices, talk with an accent sometimes, and just make people laugh. After a while, I finally found the confidence to actually do it on YouTube, just so a few of my friends could hear me again if I did do voice acting. What do you do for a living outside of ASMR, of course? Well, my primary income is from ASMR and doing this stuff on YouTube. A lot of you guys don't know is I'm actually a mom of 2 young boys. Yes, I know, I'm very, very young. I am actually only 23 years old, and I have 2 boys. And I got pregnant once I was 20 years old, and things ended up as they were. True, I did not have this plan, but I do love my sons entirely, and they are a really great stress reliever, and they are such a giant distraction, and sometimes it is hard to work with them around since they are just a toddler and a baby, but I still love them unconditionally. So my answer would be, I am a stay-at-home mom of 2 boys. Do you strictly follow your scripts, or do you ad-lib sometimes? I definitely do ad-lib a lot. Sometimes it's just the ending of a sentence or phrase, especially if I'm really into character. Sometimes I would add a complete line or phrase if I'm really into the character, kind of like my bartender. Minute, I decided to do the thank you very much and the southern accent at the end, and apparently it really made a lot of my friends laugh hearing that, and I believe it made a few of you guys laugh also, or you really did like listening to that. Do any role plays ever make you feel weird or uneasy? Quite a few, yes. If you remember from my Cuddles Are Needed video, I blatantly stated I don't like anything horror or scary. And this is actually true. I do not. So, anything horror or scary related, even if it's a role play, it freaks me out. Even when I did my own take on a yandere, or my, Mendere, I think it was called. Doing the editing, I scared myself and freaked myself out, so I try to avoid listening or doing any of those more violent ones, because I don't like doing that. I am not a violent person at all. How often do bloopers happen when recording? I try to avoid getting them as much as I can. I do know I stumble with my words a lot, especially if I'm nervous or have dry mouth. but a lot of times it's mostly background sound that ends up being bloopers, and that's usually due to my son screaming or my family going past my office and you can hear their footsteps or them yelling in the background. Where do you get your inspiration from your stories? Some of my stories have been stories I have been writing since I was 13 years old. Other ones I've been inspired by other VA artists, and some are just inspired by me listening to music and then letting my imagination go wild. What inspired you to start making audios? Well, I always liked storytelling, but I was never really confident in my voice for the longest time. Since I can remember, I was always shy and scared to speak out. And for the longest time, people would always tell me to shut up. I was so annoying. So it really was hard for me to get past my fear of speaking out. But after meeting my friends and finally putting myself out there, I was able to get past that fear. And yes, my first audios are a little cringeworthy because I was getting used to a mic. Now that I'm very much more comfortable around them, it makes it so thrilling, and I'm glad I could inspire all of you. A major thing that pushed me to finally upload my first video was because at the time, my boyfriend at the time would constantly brag and say how he was going to be the next YouTube vlogger. After a while, it started to get really annoying and really on my nerves, so I kind of teased him that what if I were to go into YouTube as well and be more popular than him, or better at it than him. Technically, I still am. But really, it was for that pissed me off, was he actually didn't believe in me, and I think it was more like a drive to say, well, I'll show you. I guess that's one way to answer a question, I hope. Where do you get your inspiration from when you do anything creative? Usually it's some type of drive to create something. I constantly have to keep my hands busy. I do have ADHD and dyslexia and bipolar sometimes, so my mind is always going frantic in different places. The one way I do to help with all of that is I try to write, type, or even draw. It does help me a lot and somehow directs my energy into something and keeps me out of trouble. Love your content. What is your MBTI type? Myers-Briggs test. When I first saw this question, I actually had to look up what that meant, and then I realized, it's the Myers-Briggs test. I actually had to take it to figure out this answer, and it said I am a protagonist, ENFJ-T type. Which does make sense. I do agree with a lot of stuff like that, but I do, yes, listen to my heart a lot more, but I do try to think logically with my head. It's kind of hard to find a balance, but eventually I find a way. Do you take video quiz? Yes, I do. If you ask me, I will try and get an idea of the ball going, especially if you support me on Patreon and give me a real good idea of something to really get my gears going, then I definitely do request. Yes. Alright, one last question. Will you ever show your face on this channel? I show my face a lot on my Instagram and my social media, but on my actual channel, I do not think so. And this was actually a topic in my Discord with my VA friends one time. Some of my VA friends do think about it, some of us don't. I do not want to show my face on my channel only because I want you guys to love me and like my content for what it is, my drawings, my storyline, my voice, and everything about that. I don't want you guys to like me just because of how beautiful or how cute you think I am. But if you are curious on what I look like, you could check me out on Instagram. I don't mind. I know I look cute. And all the questions you guys have given me. I want to thank you guys so much for supporting me so much, and the more you guys support me, the more it just makes me love you guys more. If you want to get in touch with me, I do have lots of formats of social media. On my Instagram and Twitter, I'm constantly showing new pictures of my characters and what they may be looking or doing. And my Twitter, you can see how I act with my VA friends and how we act all together. On my Instagram, you can find out what I look like actually and see my actual life. And if you support me on Patreon, you can find out spicy videos, updates, and some exclusive content too. Also, I'll put links down to my Discord also, where you can join other wildcards and discuss and even have a chat with me. I'm always on there. All of you wildcards for supporting me so much, and let's see what else the future has in store for us. I love you guys.